forsaken. Struck down, not destroyed. What's Paul talking about?
Everyday life.
Well, I was going to ask the question, but I already got the answer. I was going to say, what is Paul talking about? Is he talking about the norm or the exception? And we've got one of them, he's talking about the norm. Everyday life. What else do you think? Paul describes this experience in verses 8 and 9. Is this the rule, or is this the exception? I was curious to see what sermons have been preached on this passage. So I Googled it, just out of curiosity, to get a sense of where some other people have gone. Here are some places they have gone. Titles. Never give up. And gives you a sense of, we can persevere. We can make it. There's another one. Bible promises in troubled times. Well, it definitely describes troubled times. And Bible promises are always a good thing, right? Here's a third one. Persevering in the face of trials. When we talk about trials, we usually tend to think that they're of a limited duration, like the trial of testing, or the trial of comps for your PhD, or, you know what I'm talking about. We know it's coming, we endure through it, we're happy to be on the other side. Here's a fourth one. There is always hope for what God can do in our lives. Well, if we're perplexed and we're in despair and forsaken and destroyed, that's a good promise to have. A fifth one. How to weather doubt, discouragement, and hardships. Well, we're always open to advice on how to deal with that stuff because, as Micah said, a lot of that stuff is the norm. You deal with it every day. Two last ones. How to respond when other people beat you down. It's good to have a recourse if somebody's coming around and beat you down. And the last one, this is a long one, so listen carefully. How to handle failure so that you can live a life of victory and not be filled with anger and bitterness and hostility. That would be important, wouldn't it? We want to live a life of victory. We don't want to be filled with anger, bitterness, and hostility. And sometimes we can deal with failure. Interesting places to go. But each of these, I think, kind of makes you feel that what Paul is describing in verse 8 and 9 is something of a limited nature. It's an experience that we do not desire to get into, and that we would prefer to find a way to get out of. And if we can respond correctly, whether by claiming promises or other things, we can be pulled out of this. Each of these descriptions or themes seems to indicate an experience also that revolves around you. Like, how can I get out from being beat down? How can I deal with the anger, frustration, hostility that's building up inside of me because of what you guys are doing to me? It revolves around the person. But what if that's not what Paul's talking about? What if what he's describing in verse 8 or 9 is not the exception, but the rule? Look at verse 10. Think about this. Let's look at this verse passage. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 8, 9, and let's look at verse 10. Paul, at least, says here in verse 10, always, caring about in the body, the dying of Jesus. What does he mean by that? So that the life of Jesus will be manifest in our body. Look at verse 11. For we who live are constantly. And finally, in verse 12, so death works in us with life in you. Which end of that spectrum would you prefer to be on? Would you like, if it's me and Jerry here, the death working in me so life can work in him? Would you rather switch that and say, Jerry, let death work in you so life can work in me? Sometimes as we look at these passages, at this passage, we think, well, this is talking about Paul. Paul's a great missionary. He's a great leader, great pastor. So missionaries, leaders, pastors, probably conference presidents. That's what it's talking about here. Leadership. People who are out on the cutting edge, who they're suffering so that you can enjoy joy and peace, safety and security. Does that make sense? Should that be it? They do the hard stuff so we can enjoy the good stuff. They are dying so we can live. And we appreciate their sacrifice on our behalf. Death works in them so that life can work in us. What if Paul is talking about us? What if this is how he thinks it's supposed to be? What if this is how he thinks it has to be? What if this is how he thinks God wants it to be? What if Paul is talking about more than just persecution that's coming to Christians at that time in history because they are so strange as to not bow down and offer incense to Caesar? It doesn't sound like a lot of fun. Does it really need to be that way today? Or maybe it's like we are doing penance in this life. See, we don't believe in penance in the next life. We're doing penance in this life for all the bad things we've already done. Or I do some bad things today and now I'm going to suffer tomorrow because of what I did yesterday. Okay. 3 approaches to suffering. Tell me which one you buy into. The first one we'll call the escapist approach to suffering. The escapist rejects suffering in all its forms. They don't deny that pain exists. They know that pain exists. But they say for a person of faith, it doesn't have to be a constant. Christ healed the sick, the diseased, he released the oppressed, and he will do it for you. God's intent for you is pain-free living. So if you're stuck in some kind of agony, that means that something is broken. Broken in you, and so fix what is broken. Be healed by his healing hand. And so some combination of increased faith and better behavior or moral performance will give you a pain-free existence. Now there's lots of forms of that. And if you've been in the church long enough, you've run into some version of that view. That's number 1. Here's the second one. The tolerator. The tolerator considers himself a realist. We live in a fallen world. We live in a broken world. We live here where there's death, there's tragedy, there's disease. There's the natural consequence of this world's rejection of God and of God's will. Someday, we will move beyond it. Whether at Christ's return, or for those who died before his return, after their death, as they wait in the grave. And nobody's excited about this reality of suffering. It's just something we're stuck with in our current state. And the third view of suffering. We've got the tolerator, we've got the escapist, we've got the embracer. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2. For the joy set before him, Christ, Jesus endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God.
Praise Jesus.
We do praise him for that. But do we, while we praise him, have a hard time following him? Following him in the sense of emulating him. approach to suffering, he embraced the suffering. He scorned it. And he sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. It's a position on suffering that is rarely expressed in our pain-avoidant society. For the joy set before us, maybe it's because we have a limited grasp of what Paul is talking about there in Hebrews, where he says, Jesus, for the joy set before him. What does that look like? We can see what it looked like what it was for Paul. Turn to 2 Corinthians chapter 11. A few pages further on, 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verses 23 through 33, where he mentions just some of the things he experienced. Are they servants of Christ? I speak as if I'm insane. But I've had far more labors, far more imprisonments, have been beaten without number, often in danger of death. And then he starts to get specific. Verse 24. 5 times I received 39 lashes. Now, I got 39 lashes because it was estimated that the 40th one would kill you. 5 times I got 39 lashes, 3 times beaten with rods, 1 stone, 3 times shipwrecked, night and a day spent in the deep, frequent journeys, dangerous from rivers, dangerous from robbers, dangerous from my own countrymen, dangerous from Gentiles, dangerous in the city, dangerous in the country, dangerous in the wilderness, dangerous on the sea, dangerous among false brethren. I've been in labor, I've been in hardship, sleepless nights, hunger, thirst, often without food. I've been cold, I've been exposed. And apart from all that, there's a daily pressure I feel every moment, the concern I have for all the churches. Who was weak without me being weak, who was led into sin without my intense concern. And he continues. Have you really reflected on what he's saying there? Beaten, whipped, shipwrecked. And he keeps signing up for it the next day. He doesn't say, well, this is what they're going to do to me when I go up to Camp Gustavo to have this elders leadership training, or BBS leadership training, or Sabbath leadership training. I'm not coming back. He takes joy in his life. He sees it as part and parcel of the new covenant. So let's go back to 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and look at the verses preceding our scripture passage this morning. Chapter 4, verse 1. Therefore, since we have this ministry, what is this ministry? When churches say they have ministries, I asked you, Michael, tell me a ministry our church does. What might you say?
Feeding hungry.
Feeding hungry people. We had a ministry in April, which was the Revelation Seminar. We do ministries with Pathfinders. We do ministries with healthful cooking. We do ministries of all stripes and shapes and sizes and descriptions. And usually as a church, the more ministries, active, vibrant ministries we have, the more excited we are, right? If we have a choice between 5 great ministries and 10 great ministries, we're going to take 10. Or 15 or 20. Because the more we're doing, the better impact we're going to have on our community. Can you think that way? Therefore, since we have this ministry, but what is Paul talking about when he says we have this ministry? We tend to think of something we're doing to reach somebody else, to help somebody else, to restore somebody else. But look back a verse, because in the whole of chapter 3, he talks about what it means to be a minister of the new covenant. And he doesn't talk in an exclusive sense. He doesn't say some of us are ministers of the new covenant. He says, when some of the rest of you get to a certain point, you may too also become ministers of the new covenant. He talks about being ministers of the new covenant as if it includes every person that is a follower and disciple of Jesus. And he concludes this chapter on being a minister of the new covenant with this description of the ministry. Verse 18, we all, not I, not a select group, we all, with unveiled faces, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image, from glory to glory, just as from because of what I just said. Therefore, since we have this ministry, as we receive mercy, do not lose it. And then he talks in verses 2, 3, and 4 about how they've been called out from darkness, from blindness, from the gospel being veiled. And when he talks about the veil being taken off, he's not talking primarily of something he's reading now. He's talking about an experience of something that's happening to him that is transformational from the inside out. And at the end of verse 4, it says, so that they might not see the light. God of this world has blinded them, so they might not see the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ. The gospel of the glory of Christ. Interesting word choice, glory. Not the truth of Christ, but the glory of Christ. The gospel of the glory of Christ, and he says Christ is the image of God. So we could deduce from that the glory of Christ would also be the glory of God. Right? And he confirms that in verses 5 and 6, because he says, we don't preach ourselves, we preach Jesus Christ. And we preach ourselves as servants to him. For God said, light shall shine out of darkness. Verse 6. And the one who has shown in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ. So he contrasts this glory with the darkness. And that God is the origin of this light. And God is shining it now in Paul's heart. And this light, this knowledge of the glory of God, is found in the face of Christ. That affirms what we deduce from verse 4. The glory of Christ is also the glory of God. It's not something in our minds, it's something in our hearts. See of our actions. Verse 7. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels. The treasure is this glory of God that we see now in the face of Christ. We have this treasure in earthen vessels. The surpassing greatness of the power will be from God, not from ourselves. We saw last Sabbath how quickly a pot was broken. A porcelain pot, a clay pot. In a clay pot, the top with big legs and shadows. That's his description of himself. But within that very fragile clay pot, he says, we are carrying the greatness of God. We are carrying the glory of God. We are carrying the treasure of God. And the means by which this treasure is carried is through our heart and our lives. Hardly a trustworthy being. And so we cannot but agree with Paul that the only way this clay pot can succeed in conveying this incredible treasure to others is due to God's power and cannot come from himself. So then we come to our scripture passage. And so we are afflicted. The clay pot is weak. But somehow it is not crushed. Now, when the boys had dropped that brick on this clay pot last week, the brick had bounced off, you would have, you're all a skeptical bunch, right? We have to be a skeptical bunch because there's so much perpetrated on us, especially now that we use the internet. All the craziness that's out there. So we're going skeptical. You would have said, oh, that's made out of concrete, or that's plastic, or you would have listened to how the sound came. But that's what Paul is describing here. He's describing a clay pot that's getting hammered and doesn't break. Crushed, not perplexed. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Struck down, but not destroyed. How does this happen? Verse 10, verse 11, and verse 12 tell us how this happens. Tells us how our lives can go through any kind of suffering and not be destroyed. It is only if we carry in our body the dying of Jesus that the life, the treasure, will be manifest. He says, I don't think you're really going to understand this, because the dying is the afflicted part of our life, the persecuted, the perplexed and the struck down part. So you're carrying that so that the life will be evident. They're not crushed, they're not despairing, they're not forsaken, they're not destroyed. You've got the originating actions, and you've got the dying of Jesus, which nullifies them. But he doesn't trust that they understood, so he says the same thing in verse 11. We who live. If you're dead, doesn't apply to you. We who live. It's all this, not just the missionaries and conference presidents. We who live are constantly being delivered over to death. For Jesus' sake. So that the life can be manifested in our mortal flesh. As he describes our life as Christians, the description he gives is one where death is present so that life can overwhelm it. Those actions are necessary, essential for building the resulting display of Jesus' life in our life. And he concludes in verse 12, so death works in us, but life in you. Death in us equals life in you. The life of Jesus brings life to his listeners. And life would not be there without the death of Jesus preceding it. And so Paul is drawing our attention to that same fact. Our dying to self must always go hand in hand with the life of Christ being demonstrated through us. The grace of God then is allowed to spread to more and more people. He says that in verse 15, the last part. All things are for your sake, so the grace which is spreading to more and more people may cause the giving of thanks to them for the word of God. So he includes his audience in this experience. Don't lose heart. We're all decaying. That's part of the good news. The old man is decaying. Self is decaying. Self-will is decaying. So that we can be renewed in the glory of Christ and produce an eternal weight of glory. Verse 16, 17, 18, chapter 4. So as Christians, we embrace suffering, not just for what it does in our life and bringing the glory of God to the fore, but as we do that, the glory of God is shared with our community, is shared with our church, is shared with our world. But let's be careful to understand there are different types of suffering. I'm just going to list 4. There's a suffering that happens to us that we bring on ourselves. We don't study for a test, we get that grade. You know, our parents rule, we break it, we get punished. There's that kind of suffering. Paul's not talking about that kind of suffering. There's a suffering that comes to us that we do not bring on ourselves. We're driving down the road, and somebody pulls out at the last second in front of us, we spit our brakes, but we can't avoid the accident. People get hurt. We didn't bring that on. We go to the doctor, we find that this pain in our intestines is cancer. Those cancers we didn't bring on. Then there is the suffering that happens because of our wickedness. And Paul definitely had a lot of that. Persecution. The types of things he lists. You go knock on somebody's door, you get something in their face, we yelled at, share faith, give bad response. There is that type of suffering. What Paul's talking about here in 2 Corinthians 4 is suffering that happens because we are being transformed. That's it in a nutshell. And the suffering that happens as we're being transformed is the one essential element for everything else we do and live as Christians. Have you ever had transformational suffering? I'll give you a simple example. You'll probably laugh. Every now and then I decide, I read some article, that says, once you pass a certain age, every year you're losing X percentage of your muscle mass. Bones. And as you get older, take the bones, you're going to have to work at maintaining your muscle mass. And how do you maintain muscle mass? Usually you have to do something with your muscles. Okay? So every now and then, I like to play racquetball at noon on Monday and Wednesdays to YMCA. Every now and then I wander over to the weights center. And I don't tend to wander where the free weights are, because I can drop my nose and get hurt. So I go into those machines where you can sit down, you can put the adjustments on, and you can push stuff up and pull stuff down and swing stuff in and push stuff out and do it with your arms, do it with your legs. And it's like, oh man, this feels so good. And I do every one of those machines, you do 3 sets, I'll adjust the weights, and get a good workout, and be like, wow, I'm stronger than I thought I was. And then I go home, happy, go to sleep, dreaming good dreams, wake up in the morning, can't lift my hands above my head. And 2 years later, I tried again. Transformational suffering is not a suffering even when we want to be transformed. It's not a suffering that's necessarily easy. There is a price you have to pay. The suffering Paul talks about here in 2 Corinthians 4 is a transformational suffering. That is the base of our ministry. And that is that we are being transformed. And that only comes one way. By seeing the glory of God. The ministry of Christ. And being transformed into His image. And that is not a walk through a rose garden. And even in the process of that transformation, God will engage us in ministry to the people around us. Sometimes suffering will come from that, and from the other things that we mentioned. Stuff that we don't bring on ourselves, and stuff that we do. But this kind of suffering is not a hindrance to growing as a Christian. It is the very source for growth as a Christian. It is the place where we're born. It's the experience from which the image of Christ is formed in our lives. Suffering, in that sense, is the process of being born again. You ask the question, in the welcome, put in order of importance, Bible study, prayer, witness, suffering. They're all critical. Think of this. And when Paul was Saul, did he read his Bible? He did. When Paul was Saul, did he pray? He did. When Paul was Saul, did he witness? He did. His killing of Christians was a witness to God of his faith. But the suffering that he had on the Damascus road was the crucible that melted down everything he thought he knew, every prayer he had previously prayed, every witness he had already been engaged in, melted it all down, and he was reformed. And if you looked at the meditation this morning, that's exactly what Elroy talks about in Acts of the Apostles. To Paul, the cross was that one object of supreme interest. Why? Because it had stopped him in his tracks in his career of persecution. And he had never ceased to glory in that cross. Because it gave him an infinite revelation of the love of God as he finally saw it in the death of Jesus. And it brought a marvelous transformation into his life. It brought all of his plans into harmony with heaven. It brought all of his purposes into harmony with heaven. And from that hour, he was a new man in Christ. And he knew by personal experience that when a sinner once beholds the love of the Father as seen in the sacrifice of the Son and yields to the divine influence, a change of heart takes place. And after that, Christ is all. Christ is in all. Jesus. The suffering Paul experienced, the transformational suffering in our lives, it changes our outlook. It changes our outlook on ministry, changes our outlook on the church, changes our outlook on God. It is a help, it's not a hindrance. It allows us to see the work of God. It allows us to understand the calling of God. It allows us to follow the way of God. It allows us to walk in His footsteps. And the act of doing that, the act of carrying our crosses, He carried His crosses, is not to go someplace. It is not to achieve something. It is to know something. And so we lay hold of it by faith. And once we do, we find it does amazing things to our character. It does amazing things to our thinking. It does amazing things to our understanding, to our teaching. And we learn to embrace it because we see and understand and experience that life at its highest is to suffer in love for another person to grow into Christ. Our culture values privacy, values security, values pain avoidance. We saw that earlier this year, didn't we, with the San Bernardino shootings? FBI wanted to get the iPhone. Apple didn't want to help them with that. A hacker did, but it was the issue of privacy, right? Contrasted with the issue of security. If you put that problem to Paul, he would say, I'm happy to surrender both. I'll give you my privacy. I'll give you my security. I have one goal. To share the transformational glory of God that has so transformed my life. That was the gospel. That is the gospel. And he would say, you take everything else. Let's close with Acts chapter 16. The story of Paul and Silas delivering an unnamed slave girl from a demon. The Romans incite a riot. Paul and Silas are beaten. They're in prison without due process. Paul is a Roman citizen. But for some reason, he does not choose to reveal that fact at that point. You ever wonder why? Because he could have pulled his citizenship card out early on and avoided that night in jail. But being in jail for Paul is not a setback, it's an opportunity. So it involves some the kind of suffering that for Paul often accompanied his witness. You get this earthquake and this midnight worship service where none of the prisoners run and the jailer confesses his faith, and we know the rest. He's converted, there's baptism in the morning. But if Paul and Silas had lawyered up, there never would have been that dramatic jailhouse evangelism moment. Those are not easy experiences to embrace and advance. But as we continue to allow God to transform our spiritual lives, we will start to see more and more of the things that happen to us in our lives as opportunities instead of as punishments, instead of as curses, instead of as things to avoid and to get through as quickly as we can. There's another part of the story that sometimes we miss, and that's in the morning where he finally does share with a Roman citizen. And in verses 37 through 40, and they say, you can go. But does Paul go? No. There's one last thing he wants to do. He won't leave. He knew that the judges and the jailers didn't have legal standing to arrest him or punish him or imprison him. He let them beat him and hold him anyways. Lots of good has already come of this. There's something else he knows. There's a fledgling church in the city of Philippi. And they need all the help they can get. It's a small church. It's a fragile church. It needs time. It needs freedom. It needs support. And so instead of advocating for his own rights and asking for a financial payout for the wrong that they've done to him, which would have been his right if we would sue the government if they did something like going. Why does he ask for an escort? It can't be for, to one-up people, because that kind of pride is not part of his life. Why does he ask for an escort? He asks for an escort because he is buying political protection for the church he's leaving behind in Philippi. That's what he hears about. Lydia, the slave girl, the Indian jailer. So maybe the unspoken exchange between Paul and the local branch of the Roman Empire goes like this. I will agree to leave quietly, and you will agree to leave my friends alone. You will agree to keep those guys who want to destroy them away. Okay? That's how Paul lived. So when he lists these horrible experiences, we would call them horrible experiences, it's not a tirade about the nature of evil, the miscarriage of justice, or a quest for self-vindication. It's a celebration of a bold love that embraces suffering for the glory of God, embraces suffering in order to bring the gospel to others. Our challenge as Christians is to allow God to enlarge our capacity, to allow Him to work through our personal suffering, our personal heartache, our broken dreams, for His good and His glory on a regular basis. So that instead of when we see suffering, we respond with fear as a result of self-protection, which is normal. And when we see redemptive suffering, we approach it in faith and with love. Let the cross be our mirror, a reminder that we don't have to live in fear anymore, but hope. Let the cross point us to Christ's faithfulness and care as He holds us into His own knowledge. Let's pray. Father, we know that you have quality for us and your gospel runs contrary to many of our innate impulses and desires and responses. But we pray most of all that wherever we are in our walk with you, our knowledge of you, that our vision of your love for us will grow. And the vision and experience of